This is a quick teardown of the 1-beat branded power stripper outlet expander, model OB48AC2. Now this teardown isn't very necessary because there's already an ETL certification logo. These logos usually aren't faked, especially on the product itself, because there's usually some large penalties and countries can be more likely to seize these at the border when they have a fake logo. Other logos that you should look for are UL and TUV. The FCC logo, on the other hand, means nothing, besides the fact that this will not generate radio interference that would interfere with Wi-Fi, phone reception, police radios, etc. So even though there's that logo, I've been tearing down other chargers, some of which are okay, some of which aren't. And so, here's what I found. First, the AC power distribution looks pretty good, although it's kind of weird the way that it just runs through multiple segments of wires. The wires are very thick, appear to be solid copper or something similar. They even have the gauge actually labeled on them, 16, which would be plenty for the number of amps these claim to carry. I believe it's 15. Of course, as usual, you should never connect a space heater, air conditioner, hair dryer, electric car charger cable, or other high power devices to a power strip or outlet expander or surge protector. You should only ever connect things that are medium to low, like laptop chargers, fans, medium to small speakers, TVs, etc. Anyhow, now this claims to have surge protection as well, I believe, and there is indeed 2 metal oxide varistors. So this would have basic light surge protection capability. Nothing crazy, but it would do some basics. Interestingly, it uses the main circuit board as well to be a transformer for the 5-volt USB ports. So you've got the surge protection portion just over here on this edge. Some giant globs of solder, which I'm also not thrilled by, but it's fine, to here, where we are rectifying and converting the voltage down to 5 volts, which goes out through this port and into the USB daughter board. The USB daughter board is pretty simple. You have these tiny little 6-pin ICs labeled N as in November 307. There's no data sheet, no information I can find, but looking at the way that there's only 2, one for the 2 USB-C ports connected to each other, one for the USB-A ports connected to each other through this IC, it must be doing some basic negotiation. The USB-C ports are properly terminated by the looks of it. They have 2 resistors for each of the CC pins, so these will properly output 5 volts. This claims that the USB ports are limited to 3.1 amps total, which will top out pretty quickly with 4 ports because an iPad can guzzle 2.1 amps out of even a USB-A port or other large battery banks in phones. So even just 2 modern phones, tablets, or battery banks would possibly exceed the maximum rating for this and cause it to temporarily shut down. The rectifier and voltage circuit looks perfectly fine. Assume that's a MOSFET. I assume this is the main controller. You've got your standard assortment of capacitors, transformer with multiple points on its windings, an adequate spark gap, so that way if there's a high voltage surge that the surge protector doesn't catch, it won't be passed through to the USB ports and fry or explode your phone or battery bank. So that's all pretty good to see. Construction is decent. There are 4 triangle head screws to get into here, so that can't be done with typical screwdrivers unless you have a larger screwdriver kit. These ports are interesting in the way that they are on the sides and top as these little modules. These wires are nice and thick and sturdy and seem to be true solid core copper. Again, I'm not thrilled by the way that they're just globbing on solder to solder these to the brass, but I mean, there's worse. There's no atrocious gaps or anything bad. It's just not my favorite. Huh, interesting little gotcha though. This on-off switch, this, it's a surge and reset switch possibly. For whatever reason, uses stranded copper instead of solid copper for just this one black wire. But yeah, on the whole, this is perfectly fine to use. The USB ports aren't great, but you can charge one device at a time, or a few small ones. And nothing is particularly alarming. I'd still buy name brands from a trusted store, but this seems to do the job fine.